Hello, and welcome to Greenheart Connects. I'm Marcel, and I'll be your host. We are so glad that you are here. Greenheart Connects is an online series inspiring and facilitating the global community to make the world a better place through environmentalism, volunteerism, fair trade, and personal development. The world is at a crossroad. Times are increasingly more challenging because of climate change, extinctions, economic disparities, and social upheavals. To turn the tide, it will take all of us working together to make changes to our ways of life. This is where Greenheart Connects comes in. Greenheart Connects is a dedicated hosted space where like-minded people gather and exchange ideas for changing our ways of caring for the earth and for each other. Through facilitated discussions and curated presentations, people from around the world can share tips, suggestions, and resources to improve their local communities and the world. Greenheart Connects begins with a 30-minute presentation from our guest speaker, who is typically a subject matter expert in a particular area, followed by a 15-minute live question and answer segment with the speaker. Next is a snapshot from our global community, allowing us to see what others are doing around the world on the same subject. Then we'll wrap up with ways for you to continue the conversation. Greenheart Connects is brought to you by Greenheart International, a not-for-profit organization facilitating global understanding through cultural exchange programs for Americans and young people around the world. Thank you for being here. Exchange has the power to broaden perspectives and to change lives. Are you ready to connect people and planet? Let's go. On this first episode of Greenheart Connects, we are going to visit the island of Ibiza, off of the coast of Spain, for a look at living in an environmentally friendly way. Founded by Chris Hughes in 1993, Casita Verde is a place for experiential learning designed to encourage innovative and sustainable lifestyle techniques, many of which are within reach of every one of us, no matter where we live. Chris and his team of volunteers have installed solar panels and rainwater collection systems and have experimented with projects to reduce and reuse waste. In fact, the majority of the structures at Casita Verde were built using upcycled materials salvaged from their local garbage, like bottles and cans. We think you will be amazed at the beauty of Casita Verde, and we hope that you will be inspired to try some of these ideas to bring eco-living to your life and home. Chris also created the Greenheart logo that we share. The Greenheart is an international symbol for demonstrating humanity's love and respect for planet Earth. It represents peace and equilibrium, the balance between the human population and nature. To live with a green heart shows our love and respect for the environment we share and a commitment to protect it. Working with other eco-conscious people to co-create a world where we all want to belong is what brings Chris Hughes his daily supply of energy. Though retired from some of his roles, Chris continues to innovate and care for the earth. We think you will be inspired by what Chris has created in Ibiza. So let's get going.
I'm Chris Hughes. I'm the founder and director of this model ecology centre we call Casita Verde, and I'm also the main coordinator for the Greenheart movement here on the island of Ibiza, as well as the creator of this famous car sticker, the Greenheart, which is a symbol of our love and respect for the planet Earth. Casita Verde Ibiza is a 5.5 hectare experiential learning centre, practising and demonstrating how to live in harmony with nature. We encourage innovative lifestyle techniques which limit the pressure on our Earth's precious resources. At Casita Verde, we apply permaculture principles, use alternative energies, conserve water, plus we reuse and upcycle waste materials, practices that are within the reach of every one of us. That with a little imagination, we can all make a difference. Personally, I seem to have found my purpose in life at a very early age and consider myself a very fortunate individual. I came to live in Ibiza during 1987 after spending 12 and a half years travelling the world as a radio officer in the Merchant Navy. There I was in charge of the communications department as well as responsible for maintaining all the electronic equipment on the ship in good working condition. To be honest, I had a fantastic time visiting all the different countries and spent most of my spare moments at sea making picnic tables and having parties on the deck, as well as sitting quietly on the front of the ship looking out for things like whales and dolphins. All my life I've enjoyed being outside in the nature, and even as a small boy I spent many hours sitting in the woods or out in the gardens watching the birds and the animals. Since as long as I can remember, one of the things that disturbs me the most is seeing garbage carelessly thrown away in the woodlands, along roadsides, all over the beaches or in the sea. And as you can imagine, I saw plenty of floating plastic garbage on my way around the world. Actually, according to my mother, when I was only 2 years old, the first intelligent sentence that came out of my mouth was to ask a man to pick up his cigarette packet from the floor of the train where we were travelling into town one day. So I guess you could say that I was already making my first moves as an environmentalist even before I could speak properly. When I first came to Ibiza back in 1985, I fell in love with the island as many others do. But I also noticed that the uncontrolled tourism development was having its usual negative effect, as it has done in so many other beautiful places on the planet, and it upset me to see the nature disappearing so quickly as the developers poured more and more concrete over the coastline, like a huge monster gobbling up the nature to make more tourist accommodations. I was also getting quite angry seeing how the careless tourists and many local residents left so much garbage on the beaches and along the roadsides. So apart from picking a lot up myself, I started to think, what else could I do to solve the problem? So together with a group of interested people, I found the local Friends of the Earth group in 1989, originally planning to clean up the island's beaches and woodlands, persuade the local residents to look after their natural heritage in a more eco-friendly way. While out walking my dogs one day in the winter of 1990, I discovered a small deserted farmhouse up in the hills near to the village of San Jose. In March 1991, I managed to rent this little house from the Ibiza owners, and together with my French girlfriend at the time, we began making ourselves comfortable here. In 1993, and with the help of a creative Colombian girlfriend, we found the Casita Verde Model Eco Centre. Casita Verde means little greenhouse in English. We began by inviting small groups of teenagers along for weekends, camping in the garden and doing workshops on recycling and ecological orientation. During the following years, the Casita Verde soon became the headquarters of the environmental study group Ibiza Ecologic, which was officially registered in January 1996 and now has more than 16,000 members. I decided to focus my attention on improving the facilities and the potential of my little Casita Verde. At the same time, myself and my Japanese girlfriend invented the famous Greenheart symbol we still use today, and with the help of others I began to develop the Greenheart strategy plan. Early in 2003, the Greenheart project farm was born, providing a platform for the development of ideas and projects of many people. Meanwhile, we began to open the Casita Verde every Sunday for a vegetarian lunch and a free tour of the expanding installations. This soon became very popular as the centre evolved into what has now become an icon of the green movement in Ibiza and a special place to learn some useful green lifestyle techniques. "17 years later, and after receiving around 80,000 visitors, plus having more than 1,300 resident volunteers staying here, we decided to concentrate our efforts on developing the next invention for saving our dear planet from the humans. Although we no longer invite volunteers to stay in our little centre, and we don't open for Sunday lunches anymore, we do continue to offer free tours and workshops to local schools and special groups as part of our contribution towards educating the island community." I realise that not everyone can live in such a beautiful place like our little eco centre here in Ibiza, but by just changing some habits in your life, I think we can all make our personal living space into a kind of Casita Verde. Here we're in the main kitchen in Casita Verde. First I'm going to wash my hands with some liquid soap. This is actually produced in Ibiza from some friends of mine. And I'm going to wash my hands here with rainwater that we gather in a big tank at the top of the hill here, and we use it for washing up and showering. We're also using ecological washing liquids. This is actually a small bottle, but we buy a big bottle in the Eco supermarket. This is 5 litres at a time, so we then put it in a smaller bottle to use in the kitchen. And when we finish with the washing up water, we use this same water, which hasn't got any chemicals in, just a little bit of soap, natural soap, and we go and water some plants near to the kitchen with it. If we have too much, we pour it down the sink and it goes to water the plants in the vegetable garden. This is a special filter system we bought last year from Switzerland. It's very, very good. You need to change the filters every year if you use a lot of water, or every 2 years. This avoids completely the necessity to buy drinking water in plastic bottles. One of the easiest ways to reduce your water consumption at home is to install one of these little things on all your taps. You can get them for your shower, any kind of tap. They sell these fittings in nearly all hardware stores. Here's the water coming out normally. And I put this little device onto the tap, and here's the water coming out with 40% less flow. You think you're having the same amount of water, but it's actually 40% less. So you can reduce your water consumption without thinking about it. These water heaters will save you a lot of money every year, and obviously a lot of electricity or energy, shall we say, using fossil fuels. Because the sun is free and we have lots of it. If you install one of these in your house here in Spain, in 2 years you've paid for the machine, and it'll last probably 50 or 60 years. So you're really going to make a lot of profit. Apart from saving a lot of carbon going up in the air, you're going to save a lot of money as well. This machine here heats up 150 litres of water every day, which we use for washing the dishes, having a shower, and for the washing machine. So nearly all our hot water requirements are met by using a solar hot water heater. And if you live in a sunny area, or even if you don't, these things work even in Sweden and Norway, so there's no real excuse for not having one on the top of your house if you've got space to put it. Here in Casita Verde in Ibiza, we have lots of solar panels. We have 300 days a year sunshine as well, so it makes a lot of sense. We have in fact 10 kilowatts of solar panels supplying the whole centre. So we're not even connected to the main energy system on the island. That means we're auto-sufficient for energy. If you don't have the possibility to install solar panels in your property, on your house, on the roof, or in your apartment, you can just change the electric company that's supplying you with electricity. You can change it to one that actually uses only renewable energy to make electricity. Okay, so no burning fossil fuels, no carbon into the atmosphere, and a bright future without contamination. One easy way to reduce your energy consumption is to install energy saving light bulbs. These are LED bulbs, the latest quality LED bulbs. They even come in exotic forms like these original Edison light bulbs we have installed in this chandelier. Absolutely beautiful. I just come back from shopping. I've been to an eco supermarket and a local fruit and vegetable market. Here I brought some local vegetables in a wooden carton. I brought some local eggs, a sponge here to cut in pieces and do the washing up. I bought some packets of products in paper bags, and I also bought an extra packet of cloth shopping bags to buy vegetables in and other products instead of using plastic. As you can see, we've got a variety of vegetables here and fruit. We like to support the local farmers, so we buy things that are in season and as local as possible. Obviously, there's some things that we don't grow in Ibiza, so we buy them in bulk from the peninsula, the Spanish peninsula, and we buy them from an eco shop just to make sure that we're not eating any dangerous chemicals. As ecologists, of course, we are completely opposed to the industrial production of meat and dairy, but we do like to eat some meat and eggs and cheese. So what do? We know that industrial meat production and dairy production is causing loss of habitat, it's causing deforestation, and it's a major contributor to global warming. So if we want to continue eating these things, we have to think of where we're going to get them from. Okay, this meat here we've bought from the owner of the house, and we've frozen it in one of our freezers. These eggs are from their chickens, which are running around in the garden. They're eating in the kitchen. This cheese was made by the 92-year-old owner of the house, and this cheese was made by some people I know who have a goat farm here on the island. So we can actually see the animals running around. So we know they're in good condition, they're having a happy life, and they're eating good food, and they're being treated very, very, very well. So also, when you do go and buy your products, again, to reduce the consumption of plastic or the production of plastic, please take your Tupperware container, your egg box, or in your cheese container along to put these things in, and we avoid any extra use of plastic. I personally gave up eating fish quite a long time ago because I realised most of the fish that we have on offer here on the island of Ibiza is contaminated with microplastics, and although we've probably got quite a lot of microplastics in us already, this is another dangerous thing we can avoid by not eating fish. So here we have one of our recycling centres in Casita Verde. As you can see, this goes in the paper container and the plastic piece goes in the plastic container. This one is for bottles. In Spain we have to take the tops off. We can recycle all types of glass bottles. You never put things like glasses or mirrors or tiles or anything in this container because it's not the same material as bottles and jars. This one in Spain, we use a yellow container for plastic tins and all those kind of things. These are called envases in Spanish, and that's all the things that you buy in packets, like crisp bags and plastic bags and Tetra Brick and all the rest of it that goes in that container. In this container, the blue one, we put carton and newspapers and things like that, bits of wrapping, anything that's paper and can be used. Not used kitchen towels and things like that, that goes in this case in the compost. And here's the little container here for all the things that don't get recycled, and that needs to be a very small container in a place like Casita Verde because we don't want to fill up the rubbish tip with our waste. I'm going to take here, I've just been filling up this is a compost bin. As you can see, there's old food waste in here. I'm going to take this down to our composting unit in the vegetable garden. So here's our little composter. There's not too many people in the house at the moment, so we've made a very small one, again out of upcycled materials. This was a piece of furniture which I've transformed into a small composting unit. I'm going to throw the whole compost heap down here. And so I've even put an old hat in here because that's going to disappear too. I'm going to move it around a bit with a stick just to make sure it's all spread out. There's aloe vera leaves, bits of cabbage leaves and kale leaves and eggshells and all that kind of stuff. This will all turn into absolutely beautiful earth after a few months. And so it doesn't smell and attract some flies, we're going to put some leaves on the top that we've swept up from the floor so that it covers up the wet compost. In any case, when you make compost, always you have a wet layer and then a dry layer on top. And that's how it, and then after a while, this side's full, and just like our eco toilet, which we're going to show you soon, we have another container next to it. So when this one's full, we just start using the next one. When that one's full, this one's ready to empty, basically. So that's how to make compost if you've got a space in your garden. There are also special composting bins you can buy that you can install even on your balcony, and it doesn't smell, and you make beautiful earth which you can use to grow your vegetables. And so you're really not throwing anything away. Remember that waste is a human invention, and we are responsible for reducing our waste as much as possible. In Casita Verde we have several eco toilets. This is the first one we ever built back in 1996. As you can see, it's quite small in here, but it looks like a toilet at least. How does it work? Well, instead of the usual Thomas Crapper device, Thomas Crapper was the English gentleman who lived in Victorian times who invented the flush toilet. In my opinion, one of the worst inventions in the world, as it uses more or less 11 litres of drinking water to flush away bodily waste, which is not rubbish anyway and can be conserved for using as fertiliser. Very good fertiliser, depending on what you've been eating, of course. So you've been eating in these fast food restaurants, we'd prefer you don't leave any donation in our toilet, of course. How does it work? Well, you do your donation in here. The whole Casita Verde here works on donation. We're a non-for-profit organisation. You make your donation in the toilet. You use some toilet paper made from local recycled office paper by this company based in Barcelona and in Mallorca, which is the bigger island of the archipelago, whereas Ibiza. And this is ecological paper made, the only thing is it's still in a plastic packet, which we're trying to change, of course. So you throw the toilet paper in there as well, and instead of the 11 litres of drinking water that's used in the Thomas Crapper device, we're going to use a waste product from the local industry which cuts wood, dead trees to make firewood, and this is the byproduct. This is sawdust. Okay, normal sawdust. There's no chemicals in here at all, because these are just dead trees, olive trees, almond trees, carob trees, and anything else that's on the island growing, pine trees. Smells very lovely actually. It smells like pine disinfectant. So I'm going to throw 1 or 2 scoops of sawdust after I've done my donation in here, depending on how much donation I've made. If I've spilled some sawdust on the seat, I'm going to sweep it off. And then of course I would like to wash my hands when I've done that. And in this particular toilet, when it rains, the rainwater falls on this old satellite antenna that's on the roof, And I put this here because it has a channel around the outside to catch the water, which goes into this 1 ton tank. And we simply go here to the tap and fill up the jug with water. It's already full, so I won't do that. And I'm going to wash my hands here with rainwater. There's some soap here if I need. Some soap. I'm going to wash my hands here. Throw the water away, and the water will go away over there to water some lemon trees and a banana tree, so that every time somebody goes to the toilet, the water isn't thrown away either. It goes to water some trees and provide us with some fruit. How does this system work? Underneath the floor here, there are 2 compartments of 1 cubic metre each. I'm going to sit here filling up this side for about 4 months, depending on how many people are using the toilet. And when it's full to the top, we simply move the toilet seat over to the other side. We take out the piece of concrete, and we're going to sit here for another 4 months, while this side is rotting away and making a beautiful compost earth that we can use to plant ornamental trees and ornamental plants. So, Mahatma Gandhi actually, he described the eco toilet as the best way of describing ecology, because you get to see your shit again and you get to deal with it. And that's what we need to do in the world. We can't just keep throwing things away because there's no more away. Where is away for you is in somebody else's face, whether it's industrial waste, nuclear waste, or your own bodily waste. You can't throw it away where it's not going to affect somebody else's life. So the best way to deal with it is deal with it right here at home and make it into something useful for you. Now, if you're wondering what happens at the other side of the toilet, obviously we're just leaving our deposit in a black hole inside the toilet there. This is the business end of the toilet, and here underneath is where you take out the compost. So I'm standing next to a big pile of and there's 1 cubic metre in here, and it doesn't smell. In fact, you can even put your hand in it and that's what's coming out. So we just when it's ready to empty, we'll take a wheelbarrow and we'll come here, we'll take these pieces of wood out so that we can access the compost, and we just leave it here next door, right next to the toilet. You can see here the 2 sides, the 2 chambers. We fill one up. When it's full, we change the seat over and we fill up the next side, and then we empty the one that's full. Here we put the residue. So here we have, this is after 4 months in there, and this is what it is. This is beautiful compost. We can put this around fruit trees and make new gardens with it. Not really waste, is it? It's actually a big benefit, and the more people using the toilet, the more benefit we have. Fantastic. So here's an example of some upcycling. We call it upcycling when you make something better out of a product than the original product. These of course are beer bottles, actually from Spanish beer, Alhambra beer, which make their beer in green bottles. And we've made a beautiful bar here on the roof of the house, which you can do as well at home if you've got space on the roof. Absolutely fantastic thing, and we're going to show you exactly how we're doing that with natural products. Here we're building something else. This is the last thing we're going to build on the roof here. We're building this again with beer bottles. The mixture we're using here is just sand and lime, so it's very natural material. We're going to be finished with it tomorrow. We're going to finish it up to here, and we're going to put this table on the top to put the DJ equipment. So we're going to have a nice little space on the roof here, mainly built with upcycled material. We're just going to have a quick look in the newly finished Eco Wagon, which is our showcase for ecological lifestyle practices. So let's take a look inside and see how we've built it. This beautiful Eco Wagon was built by a Dutch carpenter during 4 years and was finished last year. It's an excellent example of ecological lifestyle all in one small space. There's every convenience you can find in a modern house all here, and it's mostly built with upcycled materials. Here are a couple more examples of building with upcycled materials. There's a beautiful table here, directly from the garbage, a little bit reformed, and a lamp post made out of the posts from a sunshade, a water bottle upside down, an old basket, and another piece of the sunshade sticking on the top. There's only your imagination which is the limit to what you can make with upcycled materials. We're not asking you to stand on your head for the rest of your life with your feet in the air. Just change a few habits that you do every day and everything will be fine. Save water, save energy, try to buy things that are not wrapped in too much plastic, recycle your waste properly, and be a responsible consumer. I really love what I do. I never feel that I'm actually working, more like just living my life the way I like to and enjoying myself as much as possible. Building the Casita Verde up from a deserted farm into what we can now describe as a beautiful and resilient paradise, I've been able to use all my skills, like carpentry and restoring old furniture, building with upcycled materials, doing electrical installations, plumbing, landscape gardening and engineering. Plus, I can include all my main hobbies like cooking and inventing new recipes, photography and writing, sailing, kayaking, cycling and walking. So I feel very content with my choice of lifestyle, of course. Obviously, if you can inspire yourself to be busy for 16 to 18 hours every day, doing the things you love to do, then perhaps you can also inspire others to play their part in helping to regenerate our still beautiful planet Earth in a way where humans and nature can live in perfect harmony. I still believe that everyone has a green heart somewhere inside them, and it's my job to help them find it. If we all begin now to evolve ecologically, maybe we're not yet too late.
Well, we are so lucky to have Chris Hughes himself join us right now, broadcasting live from Ibiza. Good afternoon, Chris. How are you?
Yeah. It's as you can see, it's a lovely day here, like always. Pleased to be on the show here, and welcome to everybody who's listening.
Wonderful. It's such a pleasure to have you join us. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Before we begin our question and answer segment, I'd like to invite all of you to introduce yourselves. So simply write your name below and where you're from. Also, if you haven't already, please type your questions so we can all learn more about eco-living. Thanks for participating. All right, so Chris, my first question to you is, did you study about eco-living? Did you consult with experts, or did you learn by trial and error?
Yes, I learned nearly everything I know by trial and error, and I still do. I'm still at school. I'll still be at school until the day I stop breathing, I guess. That'll be when I finish the school. Learning by trial and error is, for me, I mean, I never read instructions. Even when I buy something, you know, I try to fit it together, and if I fail, then I look at the instructions. It's like cooking as well. I just chuck it all in there, see what happens, you know. And then if somebody asks me for the recipe, I have to weigh it all and write it down. But basically, nearly everything I do, I've done by trial and error, and well, just get more intuition than anything else.
Absolutely. Sometimes experience is our best teacher, right?
Exactly. I mean, learning by doing.
Agree with you. I saw a question below. The ecological groups that you mentioned, can you explain more about what they do?
The different ones that we have, well, we have quite a few by now. I think I actually don't know anybody else who's got so many environmental organisations as I do. We're presently running 14 different associations. The main association that's behind Casita Verde. This has been around since 1996. Casita Verde was founded in 1993, but we made an official association to kind of have a legality at the back of what we were doing here, in this rented piece of property that I'm very fortunate to live in. And then about 4 years ago, when I finally finished my study of local politics, having been in 3 different political parties during the elections, and deciding it obviously wasn't working, I decided to set up a whole group of different associations dedicated to different subjects which I were interested in, and which are more or less the departments of the government as well, like education, agriculture, local products, energy, transport, even ethical finance. So all our different organizations are dedicated to a different, shall we say, element or a branch of the tree, because we actually use a carob tree. I don't know if everybody knows what that is. It's a very resistant tree that grows all over the Mediterranean. It also grows, there are some in California, there's loads in South America, and you can make lots of things from the fruit that grows on it. It's like stuff that tastes a bit like chocolate. We use that tree actually as the symbol of our new movement called Ibiza Phoenix, or Phoenix in English. I've chosen that name because it means the same thing in every language, and it just rolls off the tongue. Ibiza is the name of the place. Phoenix, however you want to call it, is the same in nearly all languages. And basically the idea there is to use the synergy of all the different branches and make some action that's going to be helpful for everybody. So basically working parallel with the local government as well, because I'm not intending to take over their job as administrators of the island or anything like that. I'd like to gather the more intelligent ones in the population, or anybody who wants to join in really on any level, because everybody's got something to give, however small or large, and get all that information, all that energy together and try to steer it into a synergetic, shall we say, movement where we can run parallel with the local authorities and we can start getting things done between us. Because one of the biggest problems, of course, is this barrier or this wall between the local authorities and the local citizens. And if we can break that wall down, we can get a lot further, a lot faster.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Collaboration is definitely key to get things done. That's
right. Yeah, exactly. Instead of competition, we need to have collaboration. Mm-hmm. Competition, that's from the history. Look where it got. Look at where it's got us. Collaboration is the new buzzword. Collaborate.
Absolutely, we all agree. Thank you for that question. That was from Haldiz. We have another question. This is from Evan in Chicago. There seems to be a focus on water conversation at Casita Verde. Do you know of any other alternatives to wasteful toilet systems in urban or suburban area?
Well, yeah, you can do lots of things. Actually, you can, even if you can't install a composting toilet in your house, which I've no reason. I can't think of a reason why they can't be installed in any house, because I mean, architecturally it works perfectly. The plumbing's not difficult to install, and you know, there's many different ways it can work. You know. Everything that's heavier than air will fall, and if you're living at the top of the building, whatever you put in the toilet is going to fall down. So it just depends how you deal with it. Either goes in a pipe, goes down a tube. You can sort that one out. But there's like ever so many eco toilet possibilities. And even if you can't think of anything else and you've got no money to buy anything like that, just imagine how much water you can save if you use your bath water or your shower water to flush down the toilet. So when you have a shower, you know, standing on a really big plastic bucket, when you finish, pour that water into another bucket. It's got soap on there, it's got dead cells, it's got urea, whatever it is. If you haven't got a garden to throw it on, throw it down the toilet. You're going to save yourself a load of drinking water. Drinking water should not be used to flush the toilet, basically. That's a stupid idea.
Well, I think I can safely say that if there's a movement on eco-toilet in Chicago or any other urban areas, we can probably credit you, Chris, for that. So thank you for sharing the idea with us, and that it's
Well,
not.
I'll tell you something. In England where I'm from, they're becoming very, very popular. You know, it's a bit like, it's very trendy to have an eco toilet these days. They're really taking off. It's a new trend, and people they're buying into it. And so, of course, this encourages the manufacturers of these gadgets to produce more, better quality, because the market's growing. And of course, it has to, because we can't keep throwing drinking water down the toilet and making something that isn't actual rubbish into something like a dangerous mixture, which then we have to deal with. And normally it ends up in the river or in the sea where you want to go swimming. Not a good idea at all. In fact, the whole system needs changing. So, you know, the first thing to do is change the toilet.
Right, absolutely. I wish more people could hear you, and we will definitely, all of us who are here today and learning about this, hopefully we can start sharing about this. I'm sure this would be a fun dinner conversation tonight or in the next few days. So the next question we have is from Mike. Any specific tips for city dwellers? What is the most important thing that we can do?
I would say buy as much local food as you can find. Okay, try to you know, change when your light bulb breaks. Put a low consumption light bulb in there. Put a little gadget on your water tap to use less water. Do these things like, I mean, if you can't think of anything even more simple, just take the bottom off the sink unit where you wash your hands, put a bucket underneath it, and save that to flush down the toilet. There's another one. It's so simple, you don't even know. That's a real no-brainer. You just undo the thing at the bottom of the sink and put a bucket underneath. And also, obviously, recycle your waste. Try to find when you go shopping, take some like cloth bags so you can go and buy vegetables. Don't go buying loads of things in plastic bags. We can't keep producing more and more plastic. Plastic's one of the, you know, it's another massive problem. Another Goliath that we have to slay is the use of plastic. We've got enough plastic in the world already to serve us for as long as we're going to be here and further. So cut down any plastic waste. Obviously, use motorized transport as little as possible. Try to use public transport wherever you can. If in the city, it's a lot easier, it's cheaper, and it's more available. Buy local food. Cut down on wrapping paper and recycle your garbage as much as you can. Support local recycling schemes. If you see somewhere you can return the bottle, go for that one. If you can go shopping, take all your Tupperware containers in your bags and things, so you're not actually causing any extra plastic. You take your cup to buy a cup of coffee. Take your own cup and take it home with you. Then you're not creating more garbage. Exactly. You know, I recently did 5 flights on different airplanes. I had to go last year to a few different places. I managed to do a completely 5-flight plastic-free trip. Wow. I took my own spoon. I took my own water bottle. I filled it up with the drinking water in the airports. You know, if you just move a little bit away from what's standing right in front of you and go and find another way to do it. You can take a box with a sandwich in on the plane. You can take your own cup. You know, if they offer you some wine, okay, thank you. Here's my glass. You know, cheers. You know, so then you're not creating. You're not part of the problem. You're part of the solution.
Absolutely. There's so much plastic out there, so we can all do our part to save the earth. Those are simple tips. I think all of us can do that without, I mean, it's only going to take not a lot of time to implement those. So thank you for reminding us of those simple tips.
One more, which I forgot there, which I've mentioned on the movie earlier on. If you're connected to the electricity supply, which most people are, you know, just have a look in your area. Who supplies renewable energy? You can change. They're not going to come and rewire your house. All you do is you pay somebody else who's not polluting to produce the energy that you're using in your house. So look it up. Look who's the local eco electricity company, and you pay them. It's the same stuff. It's that they invest in renewable energy. They don't buy fossil fuels and burn them to pollute the atmosphere and create global warming even faster than it's happening already. No, that's something you can do just like that. And then change your bank account. Go and find an ethical bank in your area and put your money in there. Do not give your money to the bad boys that are killing your planet. It's like, you can be the best ecologist in the world, and if you've got everything invested in a bank that's investing your money in coal mines and forest destruction, you're not doing very well as an ecologist. So that's the thing you can do without moving out of your seat.
Right, that's right.
Without moving out of your seat.
Yep, we can definitely make a difference with how we choose to spend our money. And
that's the only power we have left. Actually, it's actually where it is.
Absolutely. Well, I also want to remind everyone, if you go to the resources section of your Greenheart Connects account, you can find 12 tips to save the earth. So I definitely encourage everyone to check it out and start implementing little by little, day by day. And hopefully, like Chris says, we can be part of the solution. All right, we'll get to the next question from Jason in St. Louis. What are some of the best items you can add to compost to keep it healthy when leaves are not available?
Well, you can try and find some, you can put sawdust on it, obviously, like in the toilet. That works very well, as we know. I mean, imagine if you, compost smells pretty bad, but there's things that smell even worse, right? So if you can stop your personal waste smelling bad by putting sawdust on it, and you haven't got any leaves, well, the compost works nice with leaves because it's out of the garden. But you can also go and find some leaves from somewhere else. I mean, if you live in a city, just get out with a bag. Nobody's gonna lock you up for stealing leaves off the pavement. You know what I mean? It's like, just take them home and make some compost with them. You can also use shredded paper, newspapers, shred them up, tear them up, and put them on the top of your compost. It's the same stuff. Sell it, okay? Just obviously you don't need to go and buy a bale of straw or something like that. In fact, you probably find that your compost can be full of grain seeds. Then you're going to be growing a field of wheat when you actually plant the thing in the garden. So you can put any dry material on the paper, anything that's compostable, basically, that's not wet. So just imagine any packing material, like the modern packing material. There's loads of great things coming out now. Packing material made from like expanded polystyrene, but it's made from mushrooms. This is very easily composted, and you can just smash it up and stick it on top of your compost in the house. Okay, so just be imaginative. Go and find some cardboard, rip it up into pieces, throw it on the top. It's all the same stuff.
All right, great tips. We have another question here. This is from Gosha in Turkey. What more composting tips that you can share? Just starting it, and it's a trial and error for me. So, you mentioned about any dry items putting on top of the compost or using them for composting. Anything else? Any other tips that you can share for newbies in composting?
In composting, everybody writes books about composting and making it sound so complicated, but it really isn't complicated at all. In fact, you can have a composter sitting on your balcony. The Japanese, by the way, they live in very small houses or apartments, and they manage to do composting in the kitchen. Right? They have a thing called it's a plastic box with a lid on it. There's a tap at the bottom to let the liquids out, and they put their food waste in there, and they put something called bokashi, bokashi. EM is effective microorganisms. You can look that up. I'll send a link actually onto the website so that you can have a look at that. It's very interesting what they do. They make some compost tea, which they dilute them because they all have house plants, on the balcony and stuff. They make this tea, which is fantastic for watering the house plants. And then they've got this fantastic soil eventually to plant some more plants in. And you haven't thrown any compost away. It doesn't smell. What smells in your garbage? Rotting food. So if you separate all your things out and then you put your compost in one place where you can control it, it's not going to make your bin smell at all. Because what makes your dustbin smell is rotting organic matter normally.
Right.
So that's it. There's a tip there. You can even, I mean, they sell all different sizes of composters. You can buy any depends if you live on your own with a family. If you've got a backyard, you can stick one in the backyard. If you live in an apartment, you can even have one on the balcony, or like the Japanese do, they even stick it in the kitchen and it doesn't smell at all.
Right. Well, that's great. Thank you for the reminder. We have one final question here, and this is from Viola in Poland. What keeps you awake at night, Chris?
Well, I wake up, nothing really worry. I don't get worried about anything. It's just that my brain doesn't like to sleep too long. So if I go to bed at 12 o'clock, I usually wake up about 4 or 5, just because my brain's had enough sleep already. That's what keeps me awake at night. No, I don't actually worry about anything. And I leave my worrying about things during the day when I can do something about it.
Right. Well, there's definitely a lot more questions that we wish we could ask, but we definitely want to continue the conversation. So we are asking everyone to check out our social media channels to continue the conversation, share your ideas, what has worked for you in your journey to live a more sustainable lifestyle, and use the hashtag Greenheart Challenge. So hopefully we can follow each other and learn more new tips from there. So on that note, I would like to say thank you so much, Chris, for answering our questions and for sharing your knowledge on eco-living today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And well, you know, you can rely on me to answer any question I'm capable of answering, as long as I'm alive, if you like. Okay, so hope we can talk again soon. Thanks everybody for joining in, and don't be afraid just to do your best. You can only do your best. You know, we're not all going to go from A to Z in one jump. We're going to start off with small things we can do, and we're going to get the idea, and we're going to go further and further and further until we all become very responsible and more ecologically minded citizens. That's the target.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Well, sunny greetings from Ibiza to everybody. Okay. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye for now.
We have thousands of Greenheart friends and partners from around the world who share our commitment to connecting people and planet. While they may not be experts in this field, they have a lot of passion. And most importantly, they have taken the first steps to affect change in their local community. We are asking them to share with you what they are doing so that you can benefit from their experience. Please welcome our global friends. How fantastic! Thank you so much for sharing. We want to continue to encourage those who are just starting the work in this area. Do you have an idea to share with us? Take a look at our upcoming topics and email us with your idea at connects@greenheart.org. We would love to hear from you and potentially feature you on an upcoming Greenheart Connects episode or highlight you on our social media channels. There is so much that I have personally learned today. Thank you to our speaker, and thanks to our global community for sharing today. And thank you for all of you who participated today and asked questions. Join us on October 22nd when we talk with Dr. Marty K. Casey for an episode called It Starts With Us. There's an urgency to help when something attacks our collective humanity. We must speak up, be active, and lead by positive example. Dr. Casey is an activist focused on healing, unifying, and positive uplifting change. We think that you will be inspired to hear from her wisdom and experience. You are here because you want to learn about ways to care for our planet and for each other. Thank you for your commitment. Please note that there is a discount for quarterly subscriptions to Greenheart Connects. Learn more by going to greenheartconnects.org. There's an African proverb saying, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We definitely want to go far, so please join us on our social media channels to continue the conversation and to support each other, as well to share with others what you are doing to make the world a better place. You will receive some information to help you bring this to life and to start seeing the ripple effects in your community. We hope to see you here again on October 22nd for the next Greenheart Connects. Thank you.